God within us.
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 God within
God
us.
within us.
God
within
God
us.
within us.
God within us.
God within us.
Welcome to God Within Us, where we share the voice of God that is within each and every one of us.
One night I dreamed a dream. I was walking along the beach with my Lord. Across the dark sky flashed scenes from my life. For each scene, I noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to me and one to my Lord. When the last scene of my life shot before me, I looked back at the footprints in the sand. There was only one set of footprints. I realized that this was at the lowest and saddest times of my life. This always bothered me, and I questioned the Lord about my dilemma. Lord, you told me when I decided to follow you, you would walk and talk with me all the way. But I'm aware that during the most troublesome times of my life, there is only one set of footprints. I just don't understand why, when I needed you the most, you leave me. He whispered, "My child, my precious child, I love you and I will never leave you. During your trials and testings, when you saw only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you." Have you ever felt like God is far away? How did these moments affect your relationship with God and your faith journey?
When I'm facing a time where God seems far, I find myself feeling really conflicted. On the one hand, my heart feels the distance, like He's not here. That's when the feeling of fear and loneliness starts to set in. But at the same time, my mind knows that the Lord has promised to always be here with us. So the struggle is my inability to reconcile my heart with my head. Though recently I've started to think that maybe there's a lesson to be learned here. Maybe this is a lesson of perseverance. That even if what I feel and what I know are different, the fact that this internal struggle keeps happening, it's a sign of perseverance. It's as if I'm too stubborn to just give in to my feelings of despair. But just knowing that He promised to be there, that's enough to keep me coming back. That's enough to help me stay hopeful. Hopeful that maybe eventually what I feel will be the same as what I know. That maybe He's been there all along.
God can actually be really far away when things are actually going according to plan. When our life events, when things at home, at work are really going according to plan and we feel like we're in control, or when we're succeeding, maybe in fact we're actually moving farther away from God and God's plan for us. Maybe at work we got a new promotion. Maybe we really got that position that we really wanted. At home, maybe we are enjoying the stable relationships that we have, or feel like we're doing great, but maybe we're just starting to take things for granted a little bit. Maybe going back to work, we feel like we really need to impress. We have that apple in our sights and we really want it, and so we're trying so hard, maybe even pushing other people away to get what we want. Ultimately, we stop responding to the needs of others around us and the voice of God that's calling out to us. I remember a time when I was going through interviews and I really wanted that position. I really wanted it. And in the end, I didn't get it. But God opens up opportunities. When we look back, we try to make out how God was trying to show us a new path. He opens doors in ways that He wants us to go that way. He wants us to go in that direction and make a difference in the world according to what our real strengths are. He calls us to take on bigger challenges, a bigger picture, if anything, than we actually had when we were striving towards our own goals. In times of difficulty, when we feel like we were in control and we just lost it, sometimes it's really hard to know at the time what he really wants us to do. And maybe when things go wrong, we blame him for why we failed, or blame him for why we lost control. But in the times that I've had the chance to look back and realize that it was God who was carrying us through it, or was not just asking us to do his will, but showing us why it's important by making us and letting us take the path that we wanted to take ourselves. It resonates with our souls. It's like a warm blanket or a hot chocolate on a rainy day. So maybe in our times of difficulty, we can really recall and remind ourselves that he really has our back.
I find that I'm far from God when I focus on what I don't have and use other people's success as my own measuring stick. Sometimes I wish I did as good as a presentation as my fellow colleague to the senior leaders at work. Sometimes when I update my LinkedIn profile, I wish my career progression was as successful as my colleagues from school. Sometimes I look at Instagram feed, I wish my travel photos were as glamorous as my friends. In reflection, I find that I pushed God the farthest when I measured myself by others' apparent success and achievements, and getting lost in this comparison game. When I take a step back and realize how this comparison trap takes me farther and farther away from God, that's when I realize how lonely and vulnerable I make myself. And I realize that it's important to stop being distracted by what I don't have or who I think I should be, but instead focus on what I have and the skills that I've been given to do God's work.
So adding to this sharing, I can recall the moment when I was facing a serious health issue. It happened in the past year. I actually have been having an autoimmune disease, which is your own body is under attack by your immune system. It can be really painful because it causes inflammation in your whole body, and you will feel cramps in your stomach, sometimes bleed as well. In the past year, I've been having this experience where it was really painful, and it got to a point where it was very difficult to walk or sitting down. So I went to the doctor and he told me to have surgery, and a month later, after the surgery, even recovering was very painful because of the incisions that he made in my body. It would take months to heal, and during that several months, or even 8 months long of recovery, I just felt really sad, lonely, because I couldn't participate in the things I enjoy the most, such as exercising or even going out with friends. I was at home basically lying on my bed and feeling sadness, depressed, and questioning God, why me? And it was this time that I reflected, maybe God has a plan for me. Maybe he was trying to tell me something. And during a time I started to rely on him more, because thinking about this, it was the only thing that I can do. And I prayed to him, asking him to show me guidance. So one day things started to become more clear, and that I should really trust in him because of the past experiences that I had with God. It was really him that helped me get through all these obstacles, such as going through my studies at university. It was trusting in him that made me get a graduate degree or help me through the difficult times. Knowing that he was there for me, I should really trust in him as well during this time. And so I did. Fast forwarding around 8 months later, I started to feel normal again. And I'm really glad that I made the decision to have more faith in God and continue to have that close relationship with God.
Has God ever seemed far away to you? Has God overcome obstacles for you even when He seems far away? Join us next time on God Within Us.